Over 60 and managing diabetes, what you eat after dinner can be either a secret ally or a nightly setback. Nighttime snacks that spike glucose will show up in your morning numbers and make it harder to protect muscle as you age. But the good news is this: there are simple, dessert-like options that satisfy a sweet craving, help you sleep, and are much less likely to cause big blood sugar swings. I'll walk you through 8 tasty, senior-friendly sweets you can try, ranked from 8 to 1, each designed around protein, healthy fat, and fiber to blunt glucose rises and support overnight muscle maintenance. If you're over 60 and living with diabetes, hit like and subscribe now for more practical tips made for people like you. Before we start the countdown, a quick primer so you understand why these swaps work. Foods that digest slowly, think casein protein and dairy, combinations of protein and fat, or fiber-rich foods, release glucose into the bloodstream more gradually. That reduces the big peaks you see after sugary desserts. Protein before bed can also provide amino acids during the overnight fast, which helps protect muscle. Fats and fiber act like a traffic cop, slowing carbohydrate absorption. Low glycemic fruits and non-nutritive sweeteners supply sweetness with less impact on blood glucose. All of that together is how a sweet can still be diabetes-friendly. A strong safety note: if you take insulin or glucose-lowering pills such as sulfonylureas, your risk of low blood sugar at night can change when you alter snacks. Always monitor your glucose when trying new foods, and talk with your clinician before making medication changes. None of these options promise no blood sugar response. Rather, they're intended to reduce the likelihood of sharp spikes when used sensibly and in recommended portions. 8. Greek yogurt parfait, a creamy, berry-studded treat. One-line promise: satisfies the sweet tooth with tangy creaminess, delivers slow protein, and adds fiber from berries so your glucose rises more gently. Why it works? Plain, full-fat Greek yogurt is rich in casein and other milk proteins that digest slowly. The fat slows absorption, and a small amount of low glycemic berries provides flavor and fiber without large sugar loads. How to prepare and portion: stir 1/2 to 3/4 cup plain full-fat Greek yogurt with a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Top with 4 to 6 halved raspberries or 6 to 8 blueberries, and 1 tablespoon of crushed almonds or walnuts for crunch. Optional, sprinkle cinnamon for flavor. Enjoy this 30 to 60 minutes before bedtime. Evidence, rationale. Research and nutrition practice show that consuming protein and a bit of fat before sleep reduces overnight muscle protein breakdown and blunts rapid glucose excursions more so than carbs alone. The small portion of berries keeps added sugar low while delivering antioxidants and fiber. Caution monitor tip: choose unsweetened yogurt. Many flavored yogurts contain added sugars that defeat the purpose.
If you're on insulin, check your glucose the first few nights to see how your body responds. Illustrative vignette. Martha, 68, swapped her nightly sweetened yogurt cup for this plain parfait. She said her fasting mornings felt steadier and she slept through the night more often. Illustrative anecdote, not a universal result. 7. Cottage cheese with cinnamon and toasted pecans. Simple, savory, sweet comfort. One-line promise: a high casein option that feels indulgent when topped with warming spices and a bit of nutty crunch. Why it works: cottage cheese is naturally high in casein and provides sustained amino acids. The addition of healthy fat from nuts slows carb transit and increases satiety. How to prepare and portion: scoop 3/4 cup cottage cheese, choose a full-fat or 2% version if tolerated, into a bowl. Sprinkle 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon, 1 tablespoon finely chopped pecans or walnuts, and a dusting of lemon zest if you like. Consume 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Evidence, rationale. Casein-rich foods at night can support muscle maintenance. The nuts add monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, which help blunt the glycemic effect of any carbs and promote fullness. Caution or monitor tip: if sodium is a concern, pick lower sodium cottage cheese varieties. If you're avoiding dairy, this one isn't suitable. See other options below. Illustrative vignette. Robert, 72, chose cottage cheese after his walks. He liked the creamy texture and said it kept him from raiding the pantry for cookies. He also reported fewer midnight hunger awakenings. Illustrative anecdote. 6. Dark chocolate almond bites. Tiny indulgences with balanced macros. One-line promise: a couple of small, rich pieces feel like dessert, but are engineered to keep glucose in check. Why it works: dark chocolate, 70% cocoa or higher, has less sugar and more flavonols. Paired with almond butter or whole almonds, you get fat and a little protein to slow absorption. How to prepare and portion: melt 1 ounce, about 2 tablespoons, of 70% plus dark chocolate and dip 8 to 10 whole almonds, or mix 1 tablespoon almond butter with 1/2 tablespoon melted dark chocolate and spoon into 2 small molds. Chill until set. 1 serving equals 2 small bites, roughly 1 ounce total. Eat 20 to 40 minutes before bed. Evidence rationale. Small amounts of dark chocolate can provide sweetness without a major carb load. The combination of fat and fiber from nuts reduces post-snack glucose rise. Also, dark chocolate in small amounts may improve pleasure and satiety without excess calories. Caution or monitor tip. Watch portion size. Chocolate and nuts are calorie dense. If you're monitoring carbs, weigh or measure the serving. Avoid milk chocolate or candy bars, which are much higher in sugar. Illustrative vignette. Patricia, 65, makes 2 almond chocolate bites and shares one with her husband after supper. It satisfied her craving and she noticed smaller morning glucose swings compared to eating a candy bar years ago. Illustrative anecdote. 5. Chia seed pudding with unsweetened almond milk. Spoonable fiber and goodness. One-line promise. Creamy, pudding-like texture with fiber-rich chia that slows digestion and steadies blood sugar. Why it works? Chia seeds form a gel that traps carbohydrates and slows gastric emptying. Paired with unsweetened nut milk and a 0-calorie sweetener like stevia or a pinch of cinnamon, it tastes satisfying with minimal glycemic impact. How to prepare and portion. Mix 3 tablespoons chia seeds with 1/2 to 3/4 cup unsweetened almond milk, a few drops of liquid stevia or a pinch of cinnamon and vanilla. Stir, let sit 10 to 15 minutes or overnight in the fridge until thick. 1 serving is about 1/2 cup. Eat 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Evidence rationale. Fiber-rich foods reduce the speed at which sugars enter the bloodstream, and the gel-forming property of chia prolongs this effect. The small protein and fat content in almond milk and chia help blunt glucose rise further. Caution monitor tip. If you're prone to constipation or have trouble swallowing gels, ensure the pudding is fully hydrated and not too thick. Start with small portions to check your glucose response. Illustrative vignette. Louis, 70, favors the texture and adds a teaspoon of unsweetened cocoa for a chocolatey taste. He tested his glucose and found less variability compared to a biscuit. Illustrative anecdote. 4. Ricotta with lemon zest and a touch of sweetener. Creamy, light, and bright. One-line promise. Silky ricotta with citrus aroma feels like a treat while keeping carbs low and protein moderate. Why it works? Ricotta provides a mix of casein and whey, offering sustained protein. Lemon zest and a little erythritol or stevia give a bright sweetness with no sugar. How to prepare and portion. Spoon 1/3 to 1/2 cup part skim ricotta into a small bowl. Add 1 teaspoon lemon zest, a few drops of liquid stevia or 1/4 teaspoon erythritol, and a dusting of cinnamon if desired. Enjoy 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Evidence rationale. The protein content supports overnight amino acid availability. Using low-calorie sweeteners or non-sweetened flavorings delivers dessert satisfaction without the glucose load. Caution monitor tip. If you prefer a creamier mouthfeel, blend ricotta with a tablespoon of plain Greek yogurt, but account for extra carbs if using sweetened yogurt. Illustrative vignette. Gloria, 66, swaps her nightly biscotti for a small bowl of ricotta with lemon. She says the citrus makes it feel fresh and indulgent, and her evening snack feels lighter. Illustrative anecdote. 3. Casein chocolate protein pudding, a targeted overnight option. One-line promise. A pudding made with casein powder that stretches over the night. Keeps you full and feeds muscles while minimizing glucose swings.
Why it works. Casein protein is slow digesting. When consumed at night, it releases amino acids over several hours, which supports muscle preservation and avoids a quick carb-driven spike. How to prepare and portion. Whisk 30 grams, about 1 scoop, of micellar casein protein powder with 6 to 8 ounces of unsweetened almond milk or low-fat cow's milk and 1 teaspoon unsweetened cocoa powder. Blend until smooth and chill for a thick pudding texture. 1 serving, approximately 30 grams protein total, depending on powder. Consume 30 to 45 minutes before bed. Evidence rationale. Clinical nutrition guidance suggests that slow-release proteins at bedtime can reduce overnight muscle breakdown. Casein's slow absorption profile makes it a preferred choice for overnight muscle preservation, while delivering minimal carbs if you choose an unsweetened base. Caution monitor tip. If you have lactose intolerance, pick a lactose-free casein or try a different protein source. Start with 1 serving and test your glucose response. Avoid powders with added sugars. Illustrative vignette. Anita, 69, blends a chocolate casein pudding a few nights a week. She reports feeling less stiff in the mornings and not waking hungry. Illustrative anecdote. 2. Almond butter stuffed apple slices, crunchy, sweet, and mindful. One-line promise. A small apple paired with almond butter satisfies crunch and sweetness while adding protein and fat to lower the glycemic load. Why it works. Whole fruit has fiber that slows sugar absorption, and pairing it with nut butter adds fat and protein, turning a high-carb item into a balanced bedtime snack. How to prepare and portion. Slice half a small apple into wedges and spread each wedge lightly with 1 teaspoon almond butter. Aim for a total of 1 to 2 teaspoons almond butter, or about 1 tablespoon if using half the apple. Eat 30 to 45 minutes before bed. Evidence rationale.
Whole fruits fiber content moderates glucose release compared to juice. Combining fruit with a protein or fat source reduces the rate of carbohydrate absorption and increases fullness. Caution, monitor tip. Apples contain natural sugar. If your fasting mornings spike after fruit, reduce the portion size, try 1 or 2 slices, or choose a lower carb substitute such as celery sticks with almond butter. Measure portions to keep carbs within your plan. Illustrative vignette. Frank, 71, used to enjoy an apple with peanut butter, but found better morning readings when he chose a half apple with just a teaspoon of almond butter. He says the combo replaces his late-night cookies. Illustrative anecdote. 1. Casein shake or micellar casein pudding, the top pick for overnight satiety and muscle protection. One-line promise. The #1 pick, a casein-based shake or pudding that delivers slow protein all night, helps protect muscle, and tends to cause the gentlest glucose response when portioned correctly.
Why it works. Casein's slow digesting profile supplies amino acids steadily over several hours, which helps reduce overnight muscle protein breakdown. When paired with a low-carb liquid, like unsweetened almond milk, a casein shake/pudding provides protein without a heavy carb burden. The fat in whole milk can be used if your clinician approves and if calories are needed. How to prepare and portion. Mix 30 grams of micellar casein protein with 8 ounces of unsweetened almond milk, or if you tolerate dairy, with 6 to 8 ounces of low-fat cow's milk. Add 1 teaspoon unsweetened cocoa or a few drops of vanilla. If you want a pudding, blend and chill for 30 minutes until thickened. One serving should aim for 25 to 30 grams protein and minimal added carbs. Consume 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Evidence rationale. Nutrition guidance for older adults often emphasizes protein distribution across the day and a bedtime protein to support muscle. Casein is favored because it creates a slow-release amino acid supply overnight. Combining it with a low-carb liquid minimizes glucose impact while helping you stay full. Caution, monitor tip. If you're on insulin, check your overnight and fasting glucose the first few nights. Avoid casein powders with added sugar. For those with kidney disease or other conditions requiring protein limits, consult your clinician before increasing nighttime protein. Illustrative vignette. Harold, 75, made a small casein pudding nightly after his brisk evening walks. He reported feeling stronger during his balance exercises and said his morning glucose numbers became more predictable. Illustrative anecdote. Putting it together, when to pick which sweet. If you want the lowest carbohydrate option with satiety and muscle support, start with the casein shaker pudding #1. If texture matters, something creamy and spoonable, go for the Greek yogurt parfait #8 or ricotta #4. If your top priority is a tiny indulgence that still behaves, choose the dark chocolate almond bites #6. For a fiber-forward, plant-based spoonable option, chia pudding #5 is excellent. A practical plan to test these safely. Pick one snack to try for 3 nights in a row and measure your blood glucose before bed and first thing in the morning. Keep meal timing similar across days so the test is fair. Start with smaller portions than you think you need. Many people find satisfaction with half the portion they expect. Record how you feel. Does the snack reduce late-night hunger, improve sleep, or make mornings easier? Use that data to adjust portion and timing. Timing and portion guidance recap. Aim to eat these snacks about 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Keep portions modest, typically 1/2 to 1 cup for spoonable options, 20 to 30 grams protein for casein-based items, and 1 to 2 small bites for calorie-dense treats like chocolate. These ranges allow nutrients to begin digesting before sleep without a heavy carb load that could push glucose higher. Safety reminders and medication notes. If you use insulin or sulfonylureas, start with small portions and test your glucose at bedtime and in the morning. These medications can make nighttime lows more likely, and introducing new snacks may change your glucose pattern. Never stop or change your medications without a clinician's guidance. Instead, use food as a tool to support steady glucose and muscle health while your medication plan remains under professional supervision. Avoid fruit juices, sweetened beverages, and desserts with added sugar. They produce rapid glucose increases that are hard to blunt with protein or fat. Choose unsweetened ingredients, plain yogurts, unsweetened almond milk, no sugar-added protein powders. If a product is labeled natural or honey-sweetened, read the nutrition facts. Many contain more sugars than you'd expect. If you have kidney disease, heart failure, or other complex chronic conditions that affect fluid, protein, or potassium intake, consult your clinician or dietitian before adding nightly protein or nuts. Practical swaps to keep on hand. Keep a small stock of single-serve casein powder, plain Greek yogurt, ricotta, canned unsweetened almond milk, chia seeds, a bar of 70% dark chocolate, and small containers of almond butter. Pre-portion snacks into small containers so you don't overdo it when a craving hits. If cooking is difficult, look for portion-controlled low-sugar options at the store. Check labels for carbohydrate content and added sugar. Troubleshooting common issues. If you try a casein pudding and wake hungry, increase the protein slightly or add a tablespoon of nut butter.
If hunger persists, review the timing of your dinner. Eating too early can leave you hungry by bedtime. If your morning glucose goes higher after a new snack, reduce portion size, try a lower carb option, or shift the snack closer to bedtime. Always retest for a few nights to understand the trend. If you find a snack taste bland, focus on texture, crunch from nuts, creaminess from ricotta, and warming spices like cinnamon or vanilla to make it more enjoyable without adding sugar. Final thoughts and how to start tonight. You don't need to overhaul your whole diet. Try one of these sweets for a few nights and see how your body responds. My recommendation for most older adults wanting the best balance of muscle support and blood sugar control is to start with a small casein shaker pudding or a Greek yogurt parfait if dairy suits you. Measure your blood glucose before bed and in the morning for the first few nights you try it. That simple experiment gives you personalized data, better than any general rule. Which one will you try tonight? Tell us your before and after glucose numbers if you measure and how it felt in the comments. We read every response and learn from your experience.
Thank you for listening, and take care as you experiment. Small, consistent changes can make nights and mornings much easier.